Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of LVAD Talk featuring the LVAD Nation. And I am speaking to Ms Akeisha King today. How are you doing, ma'am?
I am good. How are you?
I am awesome. I am awesome. We're both wrestling with kids today or kid issues. So
Yeah, yeah.
as the world turns.
It's all you could do as the world turns. I love it.
So tell me about your LVAD story.
Oh my God, where do I begin? Honestly, so I had my last child, my second child, July 24th of 2021.
Mhm.
So I just thought I was going through normal postpartum, just, being tired. I already had a 1 year old, and then now I have a baby, and, just taking care of bills
Mhm.
and everything else I had going on. I'm like, okay, postpartum. Me and my significant other at the time, along with his kids from his first marriage and our two boys, we went on to Rehoboth for our last little, mini vacation. And I just kept feeling tired. I kept feeling no heavy breathing or anything like that, but I kept feeling pain in my legs and I couldn't figure out why. So something just said, you know what, let me go with my gut and let's go to the hospital. So my mother was going to take me to University of Penn in Pennsylvania, but for some reason I just was like, no, mom, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Let's just go to the closest, which was Christiana in Middletown. Went there, and they basically was like, "Man, we gotta put you to sleep like now."
Wow.
So by the time I woke up, that was Sunday, August 22nd. I woke up on a Wednesday and I knew I was in a hospital. I knew where I was, but I didn't know what had happened. And at that moment, that's when they was like, ma'am, your heart was failing, your organs was failing, everything was just shutting down. So they was like, you made it to the hospital just in time. Um, so in the talks was about the LVAD, giving me information, telling me, hey, we're either going to do this or we're going to do a heart transplant. So they were trying to say that my heart had weakened from my body not getting enough rest from the first child I had to turn around and get pregnant the second time go around. And it's just like, us as women, we don't think about the, I guess, the medical portion of it. We just know, hey, I want to be a mom, I want to have kids. Unfortunately, never knew that our heart weakens when we're in labor.
Mhm.
Never knew that. Um, so fast forward, Christiana had me on a old Impella machine. They Delaware is just not up in times when it comes to medical. So they were in talks with University of Penn, which is a good uh, hospital for cardiology. Um,
How
and
far is that from where you are?
so, a everyday drive from here to Philly is probably about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
So, uh, so I was on the Impella. I was progressing. I was doing better. Believe it or not, I was doing laps around, excuse me, I was doing laps around the hospital. Everything was going well. All of a sudden, the Impella stopped working. Tried to hook me up to another one, still wasn't working. So they was like, well, we're going to have to take the device out of you before we transfer you to University of Penn. Did that. I get heliported over to University of Penn where I felt fine.
Mhm.
Um, I could tell you up to the time that they decided to put me to sleep and put me on the ECMO, which I didn't even know what an ECMO was. I didn't know what it do. I didn't know anything about this machine.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, being on the ECMO caused me to have another injury. I ended up with a spinal cord injury. So now I am currently battling, having an LVAD device as well as, unfortunately, trying to go to therapy and get things moving, but currently in a wheelchair with no way of walking.
Mm,
Um, yeah. So the doctor that I was supposed to see at the time was at a conference. So when
mm,
he came back from his conference, of course, he was upset. He was like, "Well, why did y'all put her on this machine?" He couldn't understand why. So he's like, "Listen, I want to take her off and I want to put her on the Impella." Well, that's what I was just on when I left the other hospital.
right,
So why
right.
didn't I just get put on the Impella again? So believe it or not, Shawn, I literally was in the hospital for 7 months because my right and my left were not working.
Mm,
So that was part of the issue of why they were waiting to put me on LVAD, because of course the LVAD only holds up the left side of your heart and not the
right.
right. So because my right wasn't strong enough, I was at a status 1. So I'm like, okay, great. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was I ended up with an infection in my bloodstream. So that took me off the list altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so everything just for me, honestly, it was just becoming an adventure. Like I was considered this special case now. I got the spinal cord injury. I have, um, the heart where the right is not getting stronger, but at some turning point it did start getting stronger. I don't know how. I still say it's by the grace of God. So that's what I'm going with.
Right.
And it got better. My LVAD was implanted November 4th of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Once that was implanted, you know, they kind of was just, trying to get me stabilized. Still wasn't eating. I was getting fed by a tube, a feeding tube, which I was at a point where I'm like, okay, I want to eat. I'm hungry,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I'm not sure how your procedure went, but just in surgery, they got to make sure you can swallow correctly,
Right,
nothing
right.
goes down the wrong pipe, things like that. So once all that was done, then they let me eat, was gaining my weight back. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home. It's like, well, we can't send you home yet. We got to give you 30 days in rehab because of the spinal cord injury. Um, so came home February 10th of 2021. But believe it or not, my sorry,
That's all right.
here. Okay, I don't know what you want then. Sorry. So came home in February 10th, 2021. And I just kind of been honestly just doing what I'm supposed to do. And that's eating the right foods, taking my meds on time, just, you know, sticking to that fluid restriction. So, not saying that things can't happen, because things can happen. We don't want them to happen, but they
Right.
can happen. Um, but for the most part, I feel like it has saved my life. I'm still here. I'm still blessed. I'm still being able to watch my kids grow,
Mm,
which is definitely a major thing for me. Um, I have my days,
right.
and that's because, I mean, if anybody just say they don't have a day, I feel like they're not human.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I have my days.
Especially what we're already considered not average. So, I think every once in a while we deserve a day.
We do. We do. And I feel like I have them a little more. And that's because, like I said, I'm dealing with two issues. So now it's like on one end, I'm dealing with numbers of the heart, making sure my INR is okay. And, numbers on the LVAD is okay. And the cleaning of the area, like all that.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the other end, I got, okay, I need to be able to walk. What physical therapy movements can I do without causing harm to my LVAD and to
Mm-hmm.
the area? So, yeah, it's
Sounds
it's
like
been
it,
an
it's
adventure.
it's a juggling. It's a juggling act.
It is. It
And
really
then we
is.
still have to deal with all the regular stuff that people have to deal with.
Everyday life, being a parent, being somebody's significant other if you have one, just bills, because
Mm-hmm.
bills don't stop. It's a lot. it's a lot. And then being even in a wheelchair, it broadened my horizon to now I see like why people, they get frustrated like when it comes to social security
Hmm.
or just places that are not wheelchair accessible.
Accessible. Yeah.
um, they just make it harder for a person that's disabled. Like my mom was renting a van just so that we can go out with the boys sometimes on the weekend, and a van is like $300 a day. It's like, what? Like,
Hmm.
so we started kind of taking my car. I have a Toyota Corolla, so I can transfer in a sedan. I can't get up in like there because my mom and my stepdad both have pickup trucks. So
Hmm.
my strength is not totally there yet.
Hmm.
I'm practicing and hoping I get to that point, or I know I will get to that point. But as of right now, we was like, listen, I'm like, don't don't do that, man. It's too much. Like it's just I get that it's my mom.
Right.
I'm her
Right.
kid technically.
You're
But
always gonna be her kid. So
yeah, yeah. So, but you know what I mean. As you get older,
yeah.
your mind is like, oh, man, I don't need you really. And then I've been so independent. So now that I have to rely on,
Hmm.
someone to even assist me even more, like I probably would be better if it was just the LVAD and I can walk around, and do everything. But now that I feel like I have to adjust my life even more to something that I was used to doing for the 39 years of my life,
Hmm.
it makes you really think like don't ever take the littlest thing for granted, the littlest thing,
Hmm.
because those little things that you're used to doing, you're going to miss. You're going to
Yeah.
miss.
I tell
So,
everybody all the time. People ask why that. My kids they got this saying, "Daddy, you do too much." I got to do too much because I almost wasn't here.
yeah.
So I feel like it's a waste to not do too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually feel the same way cuz you know, I mean when it first happened to me, I was scared to go to sleep.
Hmm.
I was just scared to go to sleep. Another thing I learned that at your lowest, you really see who your family and friends are.
Hmm.
So I lost a lot of those along the way, family and friends. But you know, they always say, that person's going to show who they really are, and a lot of people have shown me who they really are. Um, but at the end of the day, it's about my immediate family, my boys, my health, and that's it. But yeah, I try to move and shake every chance I get. I'm supposed to actually go to Cabo for my 40th. I
Okay.
turned 40 in November, but I'm leaving for the trip in December, early December, for like 3 or 4 days. Nothing too major. And that's only because, we can't really get our machine wet. So
Mhm.
I just want to be able to say I was somewhere, celebrating life, celebrating my 40th, and jump back on a plane and come home. But
You
yeah,
doing more than me. I haven't. I've had my LVAD for 7 years now, and I haven't
wow.
been on a plane since I've gotten it. And I used to
Wow.
travel all the time. Like I was a military brat. I used to travel for my job.
Hmm.
So yeah, I haven't flown since I've had my LVAD.
Wow. So 7 years. So this is my question.
Hmm.
Being so long on the LVAD, like, are you on the list at all, or
So I was on,
if you don't
off,
mind me asking?
and getting back on now. I'm requalifying now. My main
Okay.
problem was weight. My BMI was too high.
Okay.
Not that I was like a big person. It's just stocky. I always been that way.
Right.
So I lost a lot of weight. Been
Hmm.
working on that, and now I'm getting relisted.
Okay.
But I'm O positive, and so
You're
you
the
know,
same. I'm the
yeah,
same. I'm a O positive
it's
too.
like it's a catch-22. Like
It
I'm
is.
healthy, so as long as I'm healthy, I'm always going to be on the bottom of the list. Something has to happen for
Mm,
me to get a transplant, but I'm
it's
cool with that.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, honestly, after a while I feel like it just becomes second nature. Like
It does. It does.
I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I forget that it's there.
So that happens, and that's how I end up pulling it or doing something stupid because I'm just so used to it. It's like
Yeah.
this
It's
bag is. it's just part of me now.
Yeah, I do fashionable. I gotta have fanny packs, so mine is like my little. I
Uh,
gotta, I gotta, keep it fashionable. I joke around with my staff and my team, which is a great team at Penn. Um, but I was like, listen, I feel like LVAD was made for men
mhm,
because I don't know. I always, doing research, it seemed like more men back in the day kind of were more on the heart
mhm.
disease, and now it seems like it's more women than
I
men
think, but I think all the time women were having problems, but it wasn't being reported like it was for men.
for men. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I just feel like the equipment that they send you home with, I feel like it's for men. That's just my opinion. Only because like the vest and stuff, all that stuff was uncomfortable.
Hold on, let me tell you. As a man, I ain't like that stuff either.
I
I
can't.
never, I never did the vest. I never did the harness. I did this bag. I got a couple of other bags. I have a
That's why I say
friend that makes a
yeah.
vest, and then
Okay.
I have the football shorts.
Okay.
And quite honestly, this bag is the worst thing. I have so much going on with my drive line because of the bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stick with the fanny packs, and I find it more convenient just for my benefit because I'm in the chair in the
Mm-hmm.
wheelchair. It just works out, better for me. Trying to have the regular bag that it comes with is kind of like it's sitting on my lap, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's a lot. So, but yeah, so that's kind of my adventure. Moving forward, I am trying to get into being an advocate for LVAD patients, or like people that are kind of like on the fence, like should I get this, should I not? Which I have talked to two patients already.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to convince one, and the other lady, she's a little older, but she kind of like still is on the fence about it, and it's kind of like at this point, like, do you want to
It's
live or
weird
don't live?
because
Like,
right, it's weird because when most of the time when people find out about what it is,
mhm,
it's too late. You need it. You
yeah,
don't have the time. We don't have the ability to have these discussions beforehand. So you have
no,
no idea, and they come telling you that you don't have these batteries strapped to you, and it's always going to be a part of you, and yeah, I
yeah,
couldn't even comprehend and that's why I do this. I
yeah.
couldn't even comprehend what was about to happen.
I couldn't. It just wasn't registering for me. Like the whole time, I went in August. So I want to say like end of September, October is when it was like finally registering, and it was like okay, like you kind of got to accept it. Like it is what it is. All you can do at this point is move forward, pray, and then, keep it moving. Even Clifton Wallace, who I follow, which I think you also follow him, the
Mhm,
other gentleman with the LVAD in Texas. Um, my cousin actually follows him, and she sent his information to me, his page,
mhm.
and she kind of was like, just watch a couple of his videos, see how he, gets through life normal and everything. And I was just like, okay. And, the only downfall, like I said, to the average person who's wearing an LVAD, um, they don't have, the two things that I'm juggling versus what, everybody else. I did hear another story where a young lady at the hospital that I went to, that she had the same issue. She had a similar heart issue. They put her on the ECMO, and the same thing happened to her. She ended up with a spinal cord injury. So I'm just like, if you guys know that this machine does this, why put us on it? I'd rather you put me on the Impella, and keep switching sides or whatever it is y'all gotta do with the Impella versus putting me on this thing that's like a dialysate machine, and it's
Yeah.
circulating my
Mhm.
blood, and then if the blood don't reach the part of the body that. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's as a regular person, it's hard to even know. Like you don't even know that you need to advocate for that.
No, nope. So it's my whole situation has been an adventure. I'm a special case all around because even, of course, having the LVAD, we can't get an MRI. So my spinal cord injury is considered incomplete. They don't even have like a number or a level to put me on because it's incomplete. Like it's just I can feel feelings in certain spots. I can feel it other places. I can't feel it other places, but it may be like a little bit, and I can feel cold and hot. It's just all over the place. So, I laughed sometimes to keep from crying and joke about it. And I just was like, you know what? I'm just a special case all around the board. So, um, I always say God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. So, God gave me a second chance at life. Um, he put me here for a purpose. Not really sure yet what that purpose may be, but I know that I'm supposed to be here. So, yeah.
So how did this affect your kids? Or are
Well,
they too young to kind of know what's
yeah,
going on?
they're too young. But their brains are like sponges, and then of course our kids tend to feed off of our energy. So the crazy part was August 22nd made a year of just, everything, how everything started. And that day was kind of, my little depressing moment. And my kids stayed under me all day. Like
They sense stuff. Yeah.
they literally slept on the bed, or not slept on the bed, but like they were just on my bed with me all day. One had an iPad, one was just bouncing back and forth on the bed, but they were up under me that whole day. My oldest, who's only 2, he's so funny. He likes to push my wheelchair because he thinks he's helping mommy, or
Uh-huh.
he'll try to grab the front of the little poles and pull that way. Then if I'm in the bed trying to get changed, he'll like try to help me move the mat. And now the little baby who's 1.5, he's trying to learn how to push. And I'm like, y'all do realize y'all not really pushing right, but just the fact that my little kings do want to help their mom, it definitely means a lot, and it puts a smile on my face. So I can't really say they are affected, but the fact that they even do that much, and that much as far as movement and helping, it definitely surprises me every time they do something. So,
So what do you see for your future?
well, one thing is to walk. Definitely am looking to walk again. Um, I definitely want to be an advocate, like I said, for LVAD, LVAD in general, and just women who have heart diseases. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the one that I had, just cardiovascular as a whole. I probably won't really touch too much on the spinal cord piece of it, because this wouldn't happen to everybody. It's probably like 1 out of 10. I mean, I probably would touch base on it, but not too much. I would kind of just stick to the cardiovascular side of it. Um, but eventually, I'm brainstorming right now. I want to actually come out with a clothing line. And when I do exclusive items, I want to take the proceeds of that and give it back to cardiovascular disease, like research and things like that. So that is my goal, or I
Mhm.
should say one of my goals. Um, and then I guess just continuing to just live life. I want to travel with my kids. That's something that my mom didn't really do with us, me and my brother, but she did always go out with us. So we always had something to do on the weekends, whether it was the movies, the museum, roller skating, um, you name it, she did it with us. So, but I want to go a little differently. And if I could travel the world with my kids, I want to be able to do it. So those are
Good.
some of my goals. Yeah.
And I think you can do it.
Hey, I seen you just, camera camera flicking and your little projects you got going on. So
And
you're
we can't stay
definitely an
still.
inspiration as
I can't stay
well.
still. I feel
Listen,
like if I stay still, that hospital gonna call me back. So I gotta keep moving. Y'all gonna have
gotta
to
keep
catch me.
moving. Yeah. Just gotta be careful, especially like now because it's flu season
Yeah.
and they didn't talk about new COVID variants then came out and I'm just like, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
Right, right. I'm trying to see what
Um,
the next animal is gonna be. We didn't have COVID. We didn't have monkeypox. What we gonna get? The rhino flu. What's the
I
next?
listen, I don't know. I'm just over all of it. I really am. The only other thing is like recently I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. Luckily it wasn't anything with my LVAD, but it still kind of played a part and just womanly things were going on and I was losing a lot of blood.
Hmm.
So I'm supposed to be at a 12 or a 13 and I was at a 6.
Hmm.
So I was upset because I knew I had to get blood transfusions and blood transfusions can lead to a lot of extra antibodies that, you know, if that
Down the road can keep you from getting a transplant.
right. So
Like
see
that's the kind of stuff they don't tell you. You don't know.
no, and it pisses me off because I'm like I'm currently active, like currently active at a status 4.
Mm.
So I'm like, if y'all call me for one more thing, and I feel like it's going to jeopardize me on this list, we gonna fight. Like
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I
I
think the
just been
most
praying.
frustrating thing is there's no when you're on once you get on a list, there's no point A to B to it. Like there's no
It's not
ordered steps, and that frustrates me. Like you could be number three on the list, and then somebody else hit the list, and now you're number 10. And, it's I don't like the fact that it's no set way that I
way.
know that. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
I'm number four, so I know I gotta wait X amount of days or X amount of months, or I got three hearts in front of mine. It's just so many variables that I can't even worry about it.
Yeah, I it's so crazy because like my nurse was being kind of I guess real with me, and she was just like, think of it this way, like a status for she was like just think about years.
Mhm.
So she was just like, majority of the patients at this hospital, I don't know about every other hospital, but they said most patients that are at a status 4, they could be waiting 4 or 5 years
Mhm.
before they can get a transplant. And I'm like, what? So then they told me I have what is called like a free ticket to use 30 days, and it's like a one and done. So here we get to use 30 days to move up on the totem pole. So
Mhm.
instead of me being at a status 4, I would go up to a status 3. But it's kind of like once you use that 30 days,
Mhm.
that's it.
It's done. Mhm.
It's done. Um, so my nurse was kind of like telling me, and she was like, I'm trying to say it without saying it. And she was like, I hate to say it like this because she was like, technically it happens. She's like, I don't know why. But she was like, if you use it, she's like, use it around December.
Mhm.
So I was like, use it around December? Not even thinking. And then she was like, it seemed like, holiday season.
More people die and do stuff.
And
Hmm.
she's like, I hate to say it. She was like, but holidays roll around, people don't have their family members, so they might commit suicide or things like that. And she was just like, of course we don't want to see a loved one die, but unfortunately, that's she was just like, that's as real as I can be. And it's so crazy because I'm like, I'm originally from Philly. Even though I live in Delaware, I go to their hospital and we have so many shootings that I'm like, so you mean all these people that's getting shot up, ain't nobody got a heart? Like,
Yo, so let me tell you this, and I think it was a guy in Philly though. I think it was a guy in Philly. It was this one young dude. I was so mad when I heard this story. He had an LVAD. He got a transplant, but he was living that street life and went out there, tried to rob somebody and got shot and killed. I was like, dude, I could took that heart, bro.
how
If that's
long
what you
ago
was
was
gonna use the
this?
heart for, I mean, I don't mean no ill will or nothing,
No,
but
I
come
get
on.
right. How long ago was this?
just might have been maybe a year or two ago. I heard this. I heard about it.
How old? He
It
need
was
to
it was
just
a younger guy,
he need to be
and that's
slapped in heaven for
and
that
that
one, or wherever he went. He need to be slapped
Mhm.
because
And that's one they were telling me about why they're so specific about people and giving putting them on the list, and even your
right,
lifestyle can affect that.
it can. And then the crazy part too is that another thing they say is that it's not enough organ donors,
No,
unfortunately,
and
because
organ donors of color, especially of color.
I just hate the fact that I feel like, and that's another thing I think I may look into doing as well, is advocating for organs, because I feel like that old folk tale. A lot of people, unfortunately, have been brainwashed from older, down the line. It's just
Mhm,
trickling down the line of
mhm.
what it used to be back in the day. And not saying that it wasn't, definitely not going to exclude it, but now it's still like, oh, well, if we become an organ donor, the hospital just going, to just deform our bodies and that, that, that,
Mhm.
that, that. And it's just
Have you heard
like,
the one that if you got it on your license plate, I mean on your license, and they see it and the paramedics pick you up, they won't save you because they're gonna keep you to harvest your organs. They go ahead and let you die.
yes,
Yeah,
I
it's
done
a lot of
heard
that.
it. I done heard every type of angle, it's just like, come on now. Like, really? And it's just like, and I want to tell people sometime, like, put yourself in another person's shoes,
Mhm.
because you're going to think and say the same thing. Like, because my whole thing is, you're believing what you believe now, but then what if you get put in them shoes?
What if it's
Then
you?
then
Right,
what's your gonna
right.
be your outlook? Is it still gonna be the same? Because it's not
Mhm.
gonna be the same now. Because now you sitting here crying boo-hoo and saying, "Oh, I need an organ, I need a liver, I need a kidney."
Mhm.
It's the same thing. So, and then that's just like this guy. I don't remember what state he was in. I was still in the hospital. I was in rehab actually, and the guy didn't want to get about to get a heart.
Mhm.
Number one on the list. Didn't want to get the COVID shot. They said, "Sir, you have to get the
To get
COVID
it,
shot
uh,
to get the transplant." Heart ready and everything for this man. He said he didn't want the COVID shot. So he passed away.
mm.
I said, "What the? Let me, what is it? O positive? Can I have it?"
Right. Can I
Like,
get that heart? I got my shot and the booster. What? Give me my.
give me mine. I got the booster, got the flu shot. They
I'm about
didn't,
to get the new booster. What?
they didn't gave me pneumonia shots. What? I'm up to date. Let's go. Like, but yeah, I don't know what be going through people's minds when I'm like, what? Cause you ain't want to get the coat? What? Seriously? Like, all right. I don't know if you can see
I
these my
see.
little
Your time is about to be
two
winding
little,
up. Yeah.
two little
Your
buggers.
bodyguards.
Yes,
All right.
that's
Well, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna
yeah.
let you go because I see mommy duty about to crank up.
Listen, they most of the time I just let them run amok. Unfortunately, my mom's living room has turned into their playhouse. They got this big thing that has like a ball pit with a slide. They got every little scooting bike toy. It's just, it's bad. I'm surprised
Well,
she ain't kicked us out yet.
enjoy it now because it goes by fast. And people used
Everybody
to tell
says
me that,
that.
and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But like now, I got to teach my daughter how to drive. So
And
yeah.
I was the same way, because I said the same thing. I was like, yeah, whatever. And now that my 2 year old is two, and then unfortunately my 1 year old, I had to watch him grow up on FaceTime being in the hospital that long. But even still, he walking and running behind the 2 year old. So it's just like,
Where did the time go?
where did the time go? Like, I just had y'all, like, and now, like, yeah. So you gotta pay attention to every little moment.
So, what advice would you give to anyone listening to this that's thinking about having an LVAD or just recently had to get an LVAD?
If I had to give any type of advice, it would be, even if you're not religious, um, just be thankful that you're still here. Be kind of open minded about a lot, because you're going to have days, you're going to have your ups and downs, you're going to get tested um, with a lot of different ups and downs of being on the LVAD, unfortunately. Um, and just live life. Live life. Keep yourself busy. Definitely keep yourself busy. It's easier said than done. Unfortunately, there's a lot of depression and mental health out here. But if you can avoid it, try. Keep yourself busy. If that doesn't work, I always tell people, please go see a psychiatrist. Please. Like, it's not to say you're crazy or anything like that, but sometimes it helps. And I'm seeing one
We
now,
get
and
caught
it,
up
it
with the
helps.
physical of the LVAD and don't think about the mental side of it.
And you have to.
That mental
This
recovery is just as important, if not more.
this situation is not for the weak at all.
Not
It's
at all.
not whether you're the person who has it or you have a significant other. Because unfortunately, I had a significant other. My children's father, he left.
Mhm.
He's not here. He left. Like, he takes care of his kids as far, financially, but he was
Oh,
drifting
that's a
off.
whole nother conversation we could have. Relationships after LVAD.
Yeah, we gotta
I
definitely
think I'm
have
gonna do a.
another one.
I think I'm gonna do a special on that.
Yeah, cause I didn't saw some stories in that Facebook group, so it's real. It's
Yeah,
it's real. It's
it
not
is.
for the weak. I'm gonna definitely say that.
And
So
I know if you go through it and you got what I got, you a gladiator. You a G.
yeah, and I got two issues, so I'm definitely
You a double G.
double G.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking your time out and listening to us today. I want to thank you, Akeisha, for coming through and sharing your story.
No
And we're going to definitely have
problem.
to have a part two to this.
Yes, we got
We
to do a
got
part
to.
two. We got to do relationship. That's part two.
Yeah, I got. I think we might have to do a live on that one.
That would be decent.
Yeah,
That would. I actually want to start building my YouTube channel. I want to get more situated. Like, I want to have like the backdrop and stuff. You know.
girl, just get you a
Um,
sheet and a light. That's all you need.
Somebody else told me the same thing,
That's
but
all
I
you need.
I
Your
be having
sheet, a
like
light, and the
OCD and
iPhone, and you got
perfectionist.
everything you got. No, you got everything you need.
And the sad part is I got all types of gadgets and gadgets. So I got a ring light because I do my makeup. So
See, you got what you need.
so
Holler at me
yeah.
after this. We'll get you straight.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to another episode of LVAD Talk. That's Akeisha. I'm Shawn, and we out.
All
Peace.
right. Peace.